Hello there, my name is Anthony Barocas for StreamTech, and today I want to introduce you to the YoloBox Mini. The YoloBox Mini is the smallest and most affordable way you can get into the YoloBox all-in-one solutions. I'm going to walk through the basic features and the things you really need to know to make this work for you. Let's get started. I have the Mini here. As you can see, the Mini is a nice all-in-one solution. What it does is it lets you take in a video camera and another source, output your switched video. It has Ethernet so you can send it directly to the internet. You've got a line input, a mic input, a headphone jack so you can hear it, and a power port so you can charge it back up. It has a built-in battery that will last for a couple hours, even as small as it is. The back has a little fan area to keep the processor cool. There's nothing on this side, there's nothing on this side. And on the bottom, you've got an SD card slot so you can record and playback video. And you've got a SIM card slot so you can actually use that for streaming right here without anything else. You've got a 1/4-20 thread so you can put it on a magic arm or put it on top of your camera, and a power button right here on the bottom. This screen is a touch screen, so literally you don't need any other interfaces. Although if you wanted to, you could actually plug in a USB keyboard here and use that for typing stuff in. You sign in by creating an account. You can do this online at YoloLive.com, and you put in your email and your password here, and you will log into this device. In order to do that, really though, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to need to go to your network settings and connect it to your local area network. Like my Wi-Fi. I'm going to need to turn Wi-Fi on. Let's go to the screen directly. I'm going to plug in the output here, and then I am going to go to here. So you can see right here, much easier, there's the Wi-Fi. We're going to turn the Wi-Fi network on. It's going to look for local area networks. There's my office Wi-Fi. It's connected. I come back over here, and then I will type in my name and password, which you won't see happen. Once you are logged in, you can see all the different streams that you have done in the past. Once you create these shows, this screen is really handy because not only can you see them and manage them, but if you come up here, you can click on that dot and then you can duplicate. So once you create an event with colored backgrounds and titles and graphics and videos and all this stuff, you can, once that event finishes, you can't open it up anymore, but you can duplicate it into a new event. So let's duplicate this event. We're going to give it a new title. Let's call it HHHHH. Done. You can give it a description. This is my stream. Obviously, you're going to write something a little bit more than that. And you can give it a date and time. So let's schedule this for next Monday at 12 p.m. Okay. And there you go. That's how easy it is to create an event. Create. Now you can see in the top right here, it is scheduled and the date. You can see the dates for all of these events that have been in here. And these are events that are created on your account. If you have multiple devices, they will all show up here. So if you have a Pro and a Mini, all those events are in your account. This is all your account over here. So you will be able to see all these things in one spot. Over here is YoloCast events. These are events that you create using the YoloCast service, which I won't get into in this video. Across the top of the screen, right here, you can see this is my bitrate up and down, the current time, I'm on Wi-Fi, there's my SIM card status, and my battery is at 72% right there. If you get one of these, they do not come with a charger, but any 3 amp charger, 15-watt charger will do. They're super affordable. You can get them as cheap as like $6 on Amazon in the US. Now, the key is, I have one here. It has one port. I have one here. I actually put a little note on here. This one has a total of 6.6 amps across 4 ports. So even though it can do 15 watts out of one port, if I fill up 4 ports, like I have a couple cell phones and everything, I'm going to be lowering the total output on each port. The YoloBox needs 3 amps at 5 volts out of one port. So you have to make sure that you are fully delivering that power. You can get a 15 amp charger. Like if I got one of these and it was a 15 watt charger and had and it had 2 ports, but the total output was 15 watts, and then I plugged my phone and the YoloBox in, well, that's 15 watts divided by 2. So now each one is only getting about 7 watts, and that's not enough. So you need to make sure 15 watts or 3 amps, 5 volts, 3 times 5 is 15, out of one port connected to your YoloBox. That is what is going to charge up your YoloBox reliably. So continuing on over here, you saw how I created an event with just a little plus by duplicating this icon right here. The other thing you can do is you can manage. If I press and hold, you can see I get like, let me go to side by side. I get this view and I can say, oh, I can delete all of these old events. I'm not going to, but that's what you can do. I'm going to cancel that. That's just by pressing and holding on any one of them. And the last thing you can do is you can press that little plus icon over there and you hit the plus. It says create a new live stream, which is not duplicating. It's creating a new one. So you get the same screen. Give me the name, the description, and when, but it's not carrying over all your media. The other thing you can do is when you hit the plus is you can go into monitor mode. And when you click on monitor mode, it just opens right up into the interface. And it's got my video playing, which you can see right here. So let me delete this video just to start this clean. Done. So you're going to open up to a blank slate. Now, the thing that's a little bit confusing about the Mini is that this screen is the interface. So these video sources will appear here, or if you select the graphics, if I type on the graphics icon, then here my graphics are going to be over here on this side. If I tap into the screen, I hit audio, then my audio mixer here. It's one screen for everything. You don't have different sections. You have to jump between the audio mixer or the graphics or your camera inputs or your sports titles. You can only see one thing on the screen at a time. So just be aware of that. The Mini is limited in screen size because it's mini, hence the name. So here I've got the Mini. It's right here, and I've only got my program out so you could have seen the screen before. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in a HDMI camera. This is an HD device. It's not for 4K streaming. It's HD. So now what you see on this screen is the same thing you're seeing here on my main camera, but without the green screen that's going on. So you can see it automatically shows the input. The first icon is for graphics. So I tap that, I can see my graphics. To exit that, you tap the screen. Next is my sources. You can see my sources. I can add more, and they will just continue along this row, and then you can swipe back and forth if you've got too many. Next one up is my audio mixer. So you can see I've got my program audio going out, my headphone or my monitor, and then my source for the HDMI. Next up is the scoreboard display. So if I wanted to do a scoreboard for sports, this model is perfect. On camera, one camera up on the sidelines, you can do sports scoreboard, you can do titles, you can do graphics, you can do video playback. It's a great little solution. If I turn this on, now I've got my sports scoreboard. I can move this around where I want it on the screen and stuff like that. And you can see I've got the Eagles on one side and the Bulls on the other side because I was playing around in another demo. I can put this wherever I want to. And then if I go into the sports scoreboard, you can see here's my size. I can make it bigger or smaller. I can change the score, add the time clock, period. And then over here, this is where you really get into it, this scoreboard styling. If you tap that, it opens up a wealth where you can change the game name, the font, the text color, the background color. So you can see that yellow down there. So that's that section. Next one up is Team 1. I can add, I'm calling the Eagles. I'm using Animo as the font, the text color, the background color, and the Team 1 logo. Colors are very important. Let me just jump in here for a second. It looks like you just can choose between these colors, but that's not really the case. If you have a team and they have a specific brand color, they're going to have a hex code for that color. If you go into custom, right down here on the right is where you can type in the hex code, which carries a uniform color. You just type in that number, that color will come up. So that way is how you can access those specific colors that you need to for a particular brand. You come down here, you can load the logos, Team 2, font, text color, background color, logo. So you can really see how you can dig into the details here for the scoreboard custom styling. So there's my scoreboard. I'm actually going to turn that off now. Next one up is this little icon where it has two cameras with a little line between them. It's auto switch. And the last gear icon, that is where you adjust all your settings. Let's jump into that. At the top is your video source switching mode. You can click to switch or you can double tap. I personally like single tap, but I can see if you were in a situation where you might accidentally touch the screen, you might want to double tap to switch. Next one up is your local videos. Do you want them to continue play when you switch away, or do I want them to jump back to the first frame and pause? Like if I'm doing a pre-show or an advertisement for a sports league or something like that, when I go away from the video, I want it to jump back to the beginning, cue up to the start, and wait. Or do you just want it to pause? If you're doing a movie review and you cut away to people talking, you want it to just pause where you were. You don't want to jump back an hour. So you choose what works for you. Next up is the local video play mode. What do you want it to do at the end? Do you want it to loop, or do you just want it to stop and sit there? Next up is your SD card management. It'll show you that you've got these different clips on there, how full the card is, how much room is left, and then you can select these things and delete them. So you could do a little bit of management here. Next up is program out. I mean, obviously you want the program out, but what this really means is out of the cable. So here I have the program out coming out of the HDMI. Or when I click on the actual output like this, I'm giving you the whole interface. That's the difference. Where it says program out right here, that is taking, instead of showing me the interface of the screen, when I click that, now you see just the program. None of the interface. The interface is only visible on the device itself, not in a separate bigger display. I can see where you might want to have a bigger screen so you can see everything a little bit bigger and control it down here. Or if you need to put this as part of the show that other people can see, you don't need them to see the interface and what you're clicking on and stuff like that. So you just want program out. Next one is USB out. This has a really cool feature. If you click on USB out, you can go default or flip horizontal. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but this has a really cool feature that you can take this USB out and connect it to a computer. And then it becomes a webcam if you turn on the USB out. If you flip horizontal, that's because some of those apps that you might be going to, Zoom, Teams, whatever, they will flip the camera so that you see yourself naturally on the screen. Well, you can flip it to be correct for when they flip it. It's kind of confusing, but it works. What this does is it lets you present a virtual camera to, let's just say, Teams or Zoom, and you can have titles and backgrounds and video playback and PDFs and all these cool things as part of your camera. And it's all produced on this teeny little tablet. I am going to turn that off. Next up is video source transitions. You can cut, fade, directional away, blah, 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 blah. Basically, 98% of TV you watch is cuts. You might want to do a fade here and there. That's fine too. And there's a fade to black at the very top, which I never use. Next up is the encoding setting. This is where you set the data rate, the frame rate, and the quality that you want. So let me go to this view here. Constant bit rate makes it easy for the content delivery network like YouTube or whatever to accept the stream. Constant quality is a balance between these two, and variable bit rate will vary how much data it needs depending upon the complexity of the picture. Like if I just do my picture here, this is super simple because all of this color, super easy to compress. My shirt, super easy to compress. But if I was doing something outside with water or trees and leaves and a complex background, that's going to need more data. So with my stream, I have a regular show. I do 4,000. Oh, I am set to 1080p right here. Oop, on the wrong side. Right here, you can see it says 1080p. If I click on that right there, I can choose between 1080p, 720p, and standard definition 480p. I like 1080p. And then in that setting, I can choose 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. Oh, I'm in monitor mode. So it's not a streaming mode. This is just recording. So in recording, you can go all the way up to 50 megabits, which is a very healthy data rate. When I stream at 4 and it looks fine. 50 is how many times bigger than 4? It's a lot. And then you can go up to 60 frames per second or 59.94. You can also go to 50, 48, 30, 29.97, 25, and 24, or 20. I was thinking it might go to 23.98, but apparently 20. I generally stick to 30 because most people watch video on a phone, a tablet, or a computer screen. And all of those do true 30 frames a second. And I'm going to bring this down to 5. That's plenty. The next one is your recording limits. This is a safety measure for when you're doing recordings or when you're recording a stream. What it's going to do is, right here, it's going to cut the video every 10 minutes. It's just going to slice it and create a new file, slice it and create a new file. This way, in case anything were to happen, like you ran out of battery because you weren't paying attention to the battery icon, you're going to have the last 10 minutes completely intact as a saved file. This is sort of like a safety. If you feel that you are super secure in what you're doing and you do not have to worry about it, you can come down here and say, just give me one big file. And then last one is the replay settings. If you're doing replay, this is how much, this right here is how big of a replay you want to have. 12 seconds is kind of long. I usually dial that down to like 7 seconds, done. And then I like going to 0.75. It's a little bit of slow-mo, but it's not super slow. And 1x doesn't necessarily help me with anything, and going faster doesn't really help me either. The replay audio, do you want the replay audio on or off? I have the replay audio off, but it has its own volume. I have the replay audio off because it's slowed down and I don't necessarily need to hear that. Mute the other audio sources? No, I don't want it to mute the other audio. The other audio is going to continue to play through. So if I'm doing audio commentary, I want that other audio to come through. And then lastly, put a little replay icon on the screen while I'm doing replay. So that is the replay settings right there. Again, we're in monitor mode, and it's a little bit different in monitor mode than it is in streaming mode. We'll get to that in a second. So you can see the settings up here. The little camera icon tells it to record. That's how you tell it to record. So let's do that. Let's hit that little record button. It'll tell me you've got 4.45 gigs of space. Remember, we saw that bar was mostly full, and you say start recording. And there it is. Now it's recording. And I could be talking, and this is all great and everything, and this is wonderful, and then I hit replay. And what you're going to see is it's going to replay those last seconds that I was just doing because it's caching that, and there's my replay, and then replay is done. You see where it says live? It said live right up here. Let's do that again, actually. Replay. So here's the replay right there. There's the replay button right there. And then when it's done, you watch. Now it says live. So that is where you see that little overlay in terms of doing replay and live. And the fact that you can do replay and live without doing a stream. So you can go record a sport event and have the replay without even having to do a stream. So that is an easy way to walk through this. Let's go back to our sources, which we really didn't get into before. You want to add a source. You just click the little plus button. I can add a local, HDMI one and USB. USB is a source? It is. I happen to have a USB camera right here. Let's go to my overhead. So I'm going to take my USB. I'm going to plug it into here. And I'm going to come back out. And lo and behold, look at that. I've got two cameras. Now my USB camera is set up vertically because I was doing something with the in-stream. But here it is, 2 cameras, 1 camera, 2 camera, 1 camera, 2 camera. Now you may think, well, I'm not going to carry a little USB webcam, but think about it. If you're doing sports and you want to have this thing on top of the camera, you've got your 1 camcorder, it's got the long lens to zoom in and follow the action. You can just use a webcam on top as your wide camera. You'll always have something to cut to. And then use your long lens through the HDMI as your close camera. So there, you got your 2 cameras. Or if you wanted to use 2 cameras, you can use a little converter like this little HDMI video capture that takes HDMI in and gives you USB. Super easy. So I got those 2 inputs. Let's go back to this. Next thing I'm gonna do, tap on that again. Local video 1. Hey, let's go get a, you can see I've been using this a little bit. Let's go get that countdown that was playing before. Done. Let's go get another video. Let's go get some snow. Done. So you can see how these start just adding up. But you're not limited to actual physical sources. You can do other cool things. Let me show you. You can bring in a PDF. You can bring in a still image. So if you just want to have a still image as sort of like a countdown timer for pre-show before the game, if you're streaming it, that's where you're bringing your image. Let's click on that. And do I have a cool... There's an image. Done. So there's a background. And you can have it switch between multiple images. Done. You can bring in a PDF. I don't have a PDF on here. Now you also have multi-views. You could do a picture-in-picture video. So if I wanted to be, let's just say this one and this one. Oh, no, not the sideways one. Go away. This was my background. And here, did I do that right? No, I did not do that right. So we're going to swap the video. There's a button for that. And then I can change the border thickness. I can change the scale of my picture-in-picture. I can move it around on the screen. And then I can even change the sub-screen shape. Let's just say I want to be a little dot. And then I want to put it over here and then say done. That comes in as a source. It's separate. It's pre-made, ready to go, waiting for you to just touch it. So here's my thing, and then I just touch that, and there it is. So let me go to the output. Let me set this to be, let me show the program out here. So now you can see as I switch between my main camera feed, blah, 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 and then I can tap directly to that picture-in-picture view that I made where I'm small and in the corner, and I'm talking over top of stills or a PowerPoint or a video or whatever I want, or it can be the other camera. Let's do that. That'd be kind of fun, don't you think? So let me give you the interface again. So you can see I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go to the right, say, I want a PIP video 2. So I want, this is my foreground, this is my background, and I did it wrong again. So let's just swap that again. There you go. Sub-screen shape, I kind of like the circle thing. Done. And now when I bring that up full and send the program out, you can see they're both active. Both cameras are working and able to be composited together. You're able to do this in this little box. That is just a small sampling of the possibilities, because if you come over here and say add, you've got a split view 2. You have 2 different ones, side by side 2, news layout, triple. So you've got a lot of capability in terms of multi-views in the source selection area. Not just 2 cameras, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more layouts you can add in addition to stills and video 1 and video 2. It just goes on and on. So there's a lot of capability in this mini YoloBox. That was monitor mode. Let's go into this streaming event. And I want to show you something very different. Now, there's other icons down here, okay? This icon is new. this icon is new. Look at that. It even says new because this is bonding. So up here, you see, it now tells you that this event is scheduled, and you've got a little right icon. If you wanted to change it, you can change it right here. Down here, you've got your little bonding icon. And what that means is these YoloBoxes have the ability, it's an extra fee if you need it, but you can make your live stream even more reliable by taking a Ethernet connection, the built-in cellular, and using Wi-Fi to your cell phone as a third source, combining all three of those together into one big connection. So that if you have AT&T on your cell phone, but T-Mobile SIM built in, and one is doing better than the other, it'll lean on whichever one is doing better to make sure your signal gets through. That's bonding. Down here, this is the titles, which we talked about a little bit. This right here is your streaming destinations. So let us scroll this over. You also have this icon is new as well. This is remote guests. You can have people call in to your YoloBox directly and be remote cameras. So if you wanted to have a camera all the way down at the end zone coming in, you don't have to run a cable down there. You could literally have them dial in with a cell phone, have it go through the internet and come over and pop up as a source. And then you've got the camera switching. This right here is also a new icon. This is viewer comments. You can bring the viewer comments into your show as graphics on the bottom. And then there's your auto switch, and then over there's your settings. Let's jump back into those settings for a second. We've seen your local video switching, SD card management, but now there's streaming mode. This one right here is new because we weren't streaming before. Your streaming mode has two options. You can stream directly to YouTube, from this box to YouTube, nothing else in between. This other one up here is using YoloLive's multi-streaming service. This is a unique feature in that you can send one stream from your box to the multi-streaming services, and then it will be multicast out to 3 different destinations. But why would you do that? Well, you would do that to save data. If you have a cellular connection and you're using the built-in SIM, and there's a lot of people on the sideline of the game, well, if you're trying to send a 5 megabit stream to three places, that would normally be 5, 10, 15 megabits. That's a lot of data to try and send. Now, if there's a way that I could only send 5 up to the cloud, and then the cloud spits it out to the other destinations, that's what that YoloLive service is all about. It takes that one stream, splits it out into multiple destinations, multicasting for you. So you can go to Twitch, you can go to YouTube, you can go to Facebook, you can go to Instagram, you can go to any RTMP source that you want to, you can program in. So that right there allows us to go to multiple destinations, and I'll show you that in a moment. Let's go back out. Come back over here. Here's the bonding. You can see the plan is $29 a month for 20 gigabytes, and that's gigabytes, not gigabits, 8 bits to a byte. So it's actually a lot of data. Here's our titles, we'll get to those, and our streaming destinations. So you can see, if I wanted to, I can try to go to, there you go. Facebook requires re-verification. So here you can see I've got 2 of them on, the other 2 aren't working right now, but this is where you can now send to multiple destinations, but still only using one output stream from your YoloBox. A very handy feature. That's the streaming. Let's continue down the line. Over here is the invite guests. Now, if I click on that right arrow, I can type in email addresses directly. It'll send them a link. They can use their cell phone, they can use a tablet, they can use a computer, and they just use a regular web browser, and then they will show up in my YoloBox. No need for a computer at all. That's easy right here. Or I can send the link to myself and then email it or put it in a message and send it to whoever I wanted to that way. I'm going to cancel that for a second. Then you need to make sure you turn on allow participants to join, or if you don't, what's going to happen is they're going to click on it and it's not going to work because you didn't allow them to join. So I don't know why you would not have that on there. And then mute guests audio by default. I usually turn this on because I don't want their audio to just pop in before I put them on, in the show. I want their audio to be muted by default. The next one up is the comments. So what you can do is the prices are for the super chat, so that if people are paying to give you a chat, that's where the dollar amount will show up over there. It's not that you're being charged for these titles. And you've got different layouts where the username has a color. Down here, the box is bigger. Down here, the picture's offset. So let me just touch the top one. And again, you get to do a lot of customization on here. So you can change the font, the color, the size of the box, the transparency of the box, the scale of the box. You can put it up top if you want. You can put it down here if you want. You can move it around if you want. And then another really useful feature is auto hide. Sounds kind of weird, but if you turn on auto hide, now what's going to happen is it's going to go up and it'll turn itself off after 10 seconds. That's really handy. You just have to say, turn it on, and then you can start talking about it or responding, hey, here's the content of the comment, blah, blah, blah. And then as you're talking about it, it just fades out on its own and you continue talking. You don't have to keep thinking of, now I got to turn it off. It does it for you automatically. The next thing I'm going to cover is your graphics. And this is huge. This little box is amazing because if you click on the titles, I can see I got two right there. I've got like a lower third that comes up, hello, and then I've got my company logo. And you can see there's a little countdown right there in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it'll fade out all by itself. I don't have to do anything. That's the auto fade I was just talking about. We'll hit the little plus. So you can do image overlays. They could be full screen, they could be little corner bugs, they could be transparencies, they can be lower thirds that you make in Photoshop or whatever you want. Lower thirds, we click on that. These are all those lower thirds, and these are all built in. Again, you can customize all of these. Colors, font, size, arrangement, location on the screen. Let me just click on one of them right here. So you can see it's up there. I can bring it down. I can change the text size. I can come down here and change the subtitle size. I can affect the offset. I can change the scale of both of them together. And there's my auto hide. I can turn the auto hide on, say done, and there it is. I'm done. And it's built in. I didn't have to use a computer to do titles. Let's go in here again. Next one up is countdown timers. I use these myself before every live show every week. I'm going to tap on that. Not a lot of selection here. I use the one on the right. Now, in here, you can say, we see where it says be right back. You can change that text. A really cool feature is the background music. Let me click on that. It's going to look at my SD card, and I got music in there. I'm going to say done. So when I select that countdown timer, it's going to play the music automatically. When the timer's done, it's going to stop the music automatically. You can change the text color, the timer, how much time you want to give it, the timer font, the timer color, the inner ring color, the outer ring color, the dimming color, because it's going to dim the whole screen behind it. As you can see right there, if I turn the dimming down, there I am. So what it's doing is it's dimming the background to highlight the countdown timer. And then of course you've got the scale because, well, guess what? You can move that anywhere you want to. Let's put it over there. So there we go. That is going on there. I'm not going to give it an overlay name, but the overlay name is there. Let me just close this for a second. So on this screen, you can see that this thing right here, you can't read it. I can't read it. But if you give it an overlay name, let me press on here and hold it for a second. There's some icons there. The little pen icon is how I can go in here and write. I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to say Bob. Done. Now, I can see Bob. I know which graphic is for Bob because it says Bob. I can't read the graphic, but I can read Bob. The other things you can do right here is the lock icon will lock a title to a source. So you see this green screen source right here? If I lock it, there it is. Now it's on. If I go to my sources and I cut to the other camera, that graphic will go away. It's kind of hard to see because it's like right here. But if I go back to this source, it fades in automatically. I'm just touching between sources, but the graphics are attached to that source. Makes it super easy to do. And then it had a 10-second auto fade. So I never touched the graphic to come on. It came on automatically. And then I never touched the graphic to go off. It went off automatically, making this production super easy to do. Next thing I wanted to come up and do is go back to my graphics. The other icons here is there's a little, the one with the 2 cards, that's duplicate. So once you create one graphic with the company's colors and font and everything, you just duplicate, change the name, duplicate, change the name, duplicate, change the name. Super easy. And then lastly, there's a little trash icon because I want to throw it away. If I have multiple graphics up, let's just say I turn, that one thinks it's already on. We are going to turn on 2 other graphics. We're going to turn this one on and this one on. Now, the key is I've got multiple layers and one might be over top of another. So you see those little icons across the top there. It's like, do I want to move it forward or backward? So you can adjust the layering, which lets you get really complex for advanced graphics users. Have at it, have fun. I'm not going to worry about it. Next up, there is web URL overlays. This allows you to use YoloCast, which gives you the ability to create graphics in the cloud and bring them in. If I click on this, because in my account, I already have a couple created, I can do a lower third, done, that I have created, change the width, text, and everything. There it is. Today we talk all about titles, done. And now that's there as a title. It's actually being created in the cloud, and I can have someone else on a laptop controlling it. And I can just tap it on here, and ta-da, there's my graphic online. So that is a really handy feature. Next up, we are going to do titles, which are more full screen types of graphics that you can dig in and customize again. We're going to come out. Last one is social overlays. So if you want to promote yourself on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, I guess they're going to have to change that and update that to be X, huh? This is where you do that. So you can create this F username, and I can say that I am on Facebook. I am STREAMTEK. Done. There you go. And then I can move it. I can change the text size. I can change the whole size of the whole thing. I can do the auto hide, change the font. I can give it a name, although it's pretty evident. And then you could even, if you wanted to, you could come in here and change the logo. So you can have, Twitter and Twitter and Twitter and Twitter and Twitter and Twitter. So you can make all these custom Twitter ones. But again, you can also do that through duplicate. Lastly, you can customize. And this is something I've done, is because in here somewhere in all these graphics, I have a mail icon. Done. And I've used this to do emails. So you can bring in a custom icon to use right here as part of your social media overlays to do email or phone numbers or call-ins or anything like that. So again, super customizable. This is, and as you can see, as I build up the titles, I'm able to just scroll between them to get the different titles. And of course, as always, there's Bob. Really easy to find where Bob is. If you look over here now, we've got 2 new icons because we've set up YouTube and my custom RTMP to be streaming destinations. If I were to say to stream, what it would do is those would light up with green when they're good to go. I'm not going to do streaming because I don't want to push to LinkedIn at the moment, but all you would need to do is push the really big go live button. But remember, you will also want to record separately. That's because you never know what the content delivery network is going to do. Something may happen. Facebook may decide that, oh, I heard music, therefore I'm going to cut your stream off. Always record your streams. Plus, it doesn't really add any extra work to the YoloBox because there's one encoder in the YoloBox. If you set your stream to be 4 megabits, your recording is that same piece of data. It goes to your media and it goes to the internet. It goes to both places. There's only one encoder. You can't have a higher bitrate record and a low bitrate stream. You have one encoder that goes to both places. But that makes it easy because you're just taking that same stream and you're also recording it to the SD card or a USB stick. So that has been a quick walkthrough the YoloBox Mini. It is a handy little tool. It fits in your pocket and it delivers so much value to your live stream, whether you are just recording, whether you are streaming, or whether you're using it as an interface to go into a cloud business chat application like Zoom or Teams. The YoloBox Mini is a tiny tool that delivers. Thanks for watching this show. I appreciate you being there as a viewer. If you found this useful, please do me a favor and share it on your social media so I can help other people. My name is Anthony Barocas for Stream Tech. Thanks for watching.